Hello and welcome to episode 3 of On the Break podcast. We're already at episode 3. I know it's not a lot, but we're here.
Oh my God.
We're here, okay. But we've got a lot.
Here.
We don't have a lot of different topics to talk about, but we got a lot of topics because this week has been pretty wild for the NFL mostly. There's not a lot specifically to talk about, but what we have to talk about should be a lot, and then we'll finish the NFL with a bit of draft stuff. And then we have a little bit to talk about the NBA. We're just going to kind of give our thoughts on stuff that's going on. There's been a few signings in the NBA, but nothing really major, not a lot of major pieces happening. If you count Jamal Crawford as one, we'll say that, but we'll get into that. But first, I want to talk about our Instagram and TikTok that we've started. Yes, we started a TikTok. If you haven't heard already, it's in our bio, or description of this video. And on the TikTok, we're just posting clips so you guys can watch more condensed versions of our, of the podcast and all the, best parts. But there's still going to be plenty of content in these YouTube videos that you won't be able to see in there, of course. And our Instagram, we're going to be putting a lot of polls relating to sports and a lot of other, kind of previews of what we're doing and just kind of whatever we really want to put there, but it's all going to be sports related. It's all going to be fun. It's going to be a great time. The Instagram, it's On the Break Podcast. That's easy to find at On the Break Podcast. And for the TikTok, you can find us there on OTB_podcast. If TikTok isn't banned in America by the time this episode comes out, because that might happen. Hopefully. It's just a waiting game here. But if the TikTok gets taken down, you'll see clips on the Instagram, I'm sure. But that aside, we're a sports podcast, so let's talk about some sports.
There we go.
I think everyone knows what the first topic is going to be if you're into football a little bit. Patrick Mahomes signed a $500 million contract the other day. I could not understand it. I was talking to a few other people when we all got the news, and we were just like, a football player got paid a baseball contract? It's more than Mike Trout's contract. I know. Now, I think like 25 million of it or whatever, 30 million of it was incentives that are if he wins a Super Bowl and if he wins an MVP. So he's not getting $503 million. Right, not right now.
As of right now, it's 477 million. It can go up to 503 million.
Right. And to say that Patrick Mahomes won't win another MVP and won't win another Super Bowl, I don't think so. I think he's going to win a few more Super Bowls. I think he's going to win another MVP. First podcast, I said he's going to win the MVP this year. I'm still sticking with that. I don't care what happens. So Patrick Mahomes is going to get some of those incentives, but he got paid a baseball contract. It's just so hard to understand. It was a great move. He deserves the money 100%. He deserves more than that. He is the best young quarterback I have ever seen in my life. I know I'm only 19, but he's the best quarterback I've seen in my life. That's young like that. And he deserves it. Now, you can criticize the contract, though. Before we do that, I want to get your thoughts, Joel, on it, because this is a mega deal if I've ever seen one in my life.
The biggest contract in sports history.
Sports, not the NFL. Sports.
Sports. That's counting the crazy contracts you see in baseball. He got paid the most.
He got paid big bucks.
$500 million. Now, obviously, this is just saying that Andy Reid and the GM, they're in the first steps of building a dynasty. They're saying to Patrick Mahomes, although the weapons around you are good, everything, obviously, he probably wouldn't be where he's at without guys like Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce. But they're basically saying to him, we believe in you. We believe no matter what we put around you, you are going to be the face of this franchise. We want you here basically for your prime forever. We want you here forever. 10 years. $500 million. Oh, my God. Just to think just to look at how the GM may have been looking at this when offering him this contract, he's basically saying, you really think you're going to find another quarterback that does these no-look passes that could drop 80-yard bombs? You think Matt Moore can do that? Never. Exactly. So that's kind of why I see Patrick Mahomes getting the contract that he did. Wanted to make sure, and let's be honest, at 24 years old, he is set for life.
It's over.
He is set for life. It's over. After he retires, after it's over and he said he's done, he's just going to be just another part of the Chiefs organization in the front office. Yeah. This guy is set for life, and he's only 24 years old. So, I think it's great for Patrick Mahomes. there is a small chance it could bite the Chiefs in the butt. Something may happen. He gets injured or whatever, or maybe he just doesn't want to be there anymore. Because I don't believe there's a trade clause in his.
No trade clause.
No, so he could easily ask for a trade whenever.
I mean, I don't think anyone's going to take on that money when you do trade, though. And I think Patrick Mahomes would never have signed a 10-year deal if he thought about ever leaving the Chiefs. He is a Chief for life. Yeah. He will be the greatest player in Chiefs history by the time his career is said and done.
Of course, that obviously that's why I'm saying that. But like, I'm just saying there is a small chance.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, anything could happen. But yeah, I mean, this is great for Patrick Mahomes, and I think it's great for the Chiefs. In general, I think it's great for everybody.
Yeah.
10 years. Half of
10 years. And he's still got 2 years. So this kicks in 2 years. He's 12 years to one franchise. And he will be, I believe, 34 or 35 when this contract is up. So if he pulls a Brady, but it's 10 years. I think it's like 30. He'll be 35, 36, 34.
Yeah, something like that.
If he pulls a Tom Brady and plays into his 40s, he could be damn close to a billionaire by the time his career is said and done. Not just football earnings, but he can endorsements. And if he has a good financial advisor, I'm sure he's going to be investing this money in a lot of different things. So he could very well be a billionaire by the age of 39, 42, playing professional football. And the Kansas City Chiefs, they're not a big market. He might become a billionaire playing for a smaller market franchise.
They will be.
Yeah.
They will be.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. But now, a lot of the criticisms I've seen of this contract. Now, I love the contract. Okay. What else would you have paid Patrick Mahomes? Would you say the Chiefs shouldn't have re-signed him and let him walk? He is the best young quarterback the NFL has seen in recent memory. Okay. He's already a top 5 quarterback at the age of 24 years old. Now, you can say Lamar Jackson is up there. You can say Deshaun Watson is up there, but nobody is doing it like Patrick Mahomes is doing it. Patrick Mahomes just won a Super Bowl. Right?
Now, you may say that one MVP.
Exactly. And he was top 3 in this voting, like I said before, with an injured ankle. So it's great for the Chiefs. I love it. Now, I am a stickler for salary cap, right? So the fact that this move isn't making me criticize the Chiefs just shows how good Patrick Mahomes is in my eyes. But you can say, well, how are you going to, when Travis Kelce wants more money, how are you going to re-sign him in 3 years?
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill wants more money. How are you going to re-sign him in 5 years? All these young players you're drafting. The running back position, you can just cycle in and out through the draft. But what about corners? What about, your linebackers, your offensive line? It's going to be hard to build a team like that. Now, that's going to come down to Andy Reid and the general management of the Kansas City Chiefs drafting well. That's what the Patriots did. The Patriots drafted well with Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady obviously took less money, and Gronk did as well to continue to win Super Bowls. But the Patriots would find guys in the 6th round, 5 guys in the 7th round, undrafted, 5th rounders, and turn them into starting caliber players. And that's what the Kansas City Chiefs need to do for the next 12 years with Patrick Mahomes. And I think they can get it done. They have a roster that can win for the next 5 years with Patrick Mahomes, especially if he keeps getting better. So it's going to come down to the Chiefs betting on themselves as a management to draft correctly. And they're making moves like that now. They know they need help at the running back position. They drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They weren't scared to go maybe reach for a guy. They know what they want to do as a team. They know how they want to build their team, and they're building their team through the draft year in and year out to continue to put a great football team together around this quarterback. And I think that's the way to do it for Kansas City. That's how you do it.
I think the only person that would really be mad about seeing this contract would probably be Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Because he's a guy that wanted to get paid. He's pretty young for a defensive tackle who is producing the way he is. He's playing very well, and he thought he was going to get paid this offseason. He thought he was going to get the big bucks, and he ended up getting franchise tagged. And now seeing your quarterback getting a 10-year contract, there's a very slim chance you're going to get paid with this team. So now that when you see that, you're just kind of saying to yourself, okay, well, I'm gone next year.
Yeah, Chris Jones is walking. He's walking.
Even if I want to stay here, they can't pay me.
No.
How are they going to pay me?
Unless if he takes a great pay cut and pulls a Tom Brady, but he's not Tom Brady. He's a defensive tackle. He wants to get paid. He doesn't know how long he's going to be playing in this league. So Hey, Tennessee Titans and Indianapolis Colts. You got your guy,
Yeah, there you go.
Teams with high salary cap are going to love that Chris Jones is a free agent if he does end up becoming a free agent. The Chiefs might pay him, and I don't know if that's the best move, depending on the money. But we'll really see what the Chiefs do there. It's just so many moving parts because of this Mahomes contract, and you have to imagine there's two guys that are staring this deal and saying there's three guys actually looking at this deal and saying, pay me now. Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, and Dak Prescott. I know I had to say Dak Prescott.
Oh, Dak.
I mean, we talked about the Dak Prescott contract. He's asking for a lot of money.
Oh,
He's
Dak.
asking for this kind of money. I mean, I think we've gone over it. Dak does not deserve Patrick Mahomes' money. The two guys that do, though, potentially, Lamar Jackson definitely deserves Patrick Mahomes' money. Maybe not 10 years. Maybe not 10 years. We don't know how long he's going to play for.
I could see him getting like a 5-year deal, 4-year deal.
I can see 7.
7?
Yeah.
I was thinking more like half. Like I wanted for a guy that plays the way Lamar Jackson does. I don't know about a 10-year deal.
No,
because like if you asked me last year, I feel like he got very lucky not getting injured. He got very lucky not getting it playing the way he does, playing aggressively how he does. But yeah, I can see him getting like a 4-year, 5-year deal. Something like that.
I think with Lamar Jackson, the way he runs. I mean, I talked about Josh Allen's running style last episode and how reckless he is. And he just runs straight up the gut. Lamar Jackson, a lot of his runs, he doesn't even get hit, or he maybe just gets pushed out of bounds. But he's going towards the sideline. He's going out of bounds most of the time. And he's not putting his head down. He's not trying to run over guys. Now you see him, you do see him at the second level making spin moves against the Cincinnati Bengals, but it's the Cincinnati Bengals. He can do that. But, he's not as reckless. So he understands, like, hey, I got to keep my body healthy. I got to keep myself healthy, right? I was on the Lamar Jackson is a running back trend last year and 2 years ago, but his MVP season, he was a good passer. Now, a lot of it was the tight ends, Mark Andrews, Hayden Hurst, and everybody. But, he did have a lot of throws to Hollywood Brown, Oklahoma grad, and so was Mark Andrews. But I think the Ravens, because they found their guy, he fits in that system so well. They completely redesigned their system for Lamar Jackson. So he's going to fit there for the next potentially 10 years. Now, Deshaun Watson is a tricky case because he has all the talent in the world. He is one of the most talented quarterbacks, I mean, in the league, young quarterbacks as well. And we saw what he can do at Clemson. He beat Alabama to win a national championship, throwing to Hunter Renfrow for that last second touchdown. Hunter Renfrow was on Clemson for like 10 years, it felt like, but he was there.
He looks like it.
Yeah. And some big college football news came out. I was checking my phone. We're going to get into that after the Patrick Mahomes contract, but it's kind of ridiculous. It involves stuff getting canceled. So I just kind of want to mention that real quick. I don't know how much you care about that, but we'll get into that in a second.
We'll get into it. Yeah.
Yeah. But Deshaun Watson, I don't know if he deserves a 10-year contract, but he deserves to get signed long-term for big money. And I don't think that's a question that the Texans should sign Deshaun Watson for a lot of money. Now, if the Texans follow the trend of what they do with their star players, he'll be gone next year. But we'll see what happens with the Texans, too. I don't know if there's much to talk about Dak Prescott, though. He doesn't deserve the money.
Well, we talked about Dak Prescott a lot.
We've said it. He doesn't deserve
If you want to hear about Dak, it's probably on the TikTok, honestly.
It is there. It is there.
It probably is. You'll see that take.
Go find it. Go check it
out. Our opinions have not changed on that. Have not changed.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add about this Mahomes situation?
Not necessarily Mahomes. I feel I wanted to touch on what you were talking about, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
I feel like Deshaun does deserve the money. I feel like the Texans would want to keep him. My only question is, does Deshaun want to be there?
Right.
You saw what just happened to your buddy, D-Hop, got traded for literally nothing, and he's in debates for possibly being the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. People are debating that, and they let him go for basically a second-round pick.
Yeah, they think David Johnson is back in 2016 there, so that's going to be
interesting. Just seeing stuff like that, and seeing the GM that you have, which is also your head coach, and Bill O'Brien.
Yeah,
I thought the trade they did for Brandon Cooks was a little underrated because I do think he's a great wide receiver. I do think they have weapons around them. They do. And David Johnson, he's still a running back. He's still David Johnson. I think he'll be okay for them. It's just they're very reckless.
Especially Brian.
Yeah, he's very reckless. He'll trade anybody for anything. The first offer I find it very hard to believe that offer that Arizona gave them was the best offer they got.
Yeah.
I find that very hard to believe.
I don't think they looked for better offers. I think that was their big problem.
That too,
Yeah.
probably.
So
But
it's reckless.
yeah, so yeah, just my question is, would Deshaun Watson want to be there? I don't know where he would go because a lot of the QB spots have already been filled. There's not very much spots out there. I'm sure some will open up once the season comes, and then you see, oh, this guy's kind of, he's terrible. This guy sucks. Whatever. They can use more spots.
Tennessee.
You never know. You never know. But yeah, that's what it comes down to for Deshaun Watson. Patrick Mahomes, on the other hand, totally deserves it. He wants to be there. Chiefs want him there. Great deal.
Yeah,
I think it's fine
for sure. Now think about Deshaun Watson. The Texans are the only ones that are going to give him a 7-year contract. I don't know how that really works for free agents, but usually your home team is going to give you the longest term contract for the most amount of money. Now, with the Texans, we don't know what's going to happen there, but it's down the line. Right now, we know Patrick Mahomes is the Chief, and all those guys are still on their respective teams, whether they're on the franchise tag or on rookie deals, like the Lamar Jackson and Watson. But did you get a notification for what's happening in the Big Ten for college football and fall sports?
I turned off notifications, so I don't.
All
know.
right, yeah.
Breaking news.
Mine are on silent. Mine are on silent. Breaking news. We're improvising here.
Okay,
the Big Ten is moving to conference-only model for all sports this fall, including football. Football will only be playing the Big Ten Conference, which has Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, Rutgers, if you want to count them, but and other teams. That's the second best conference in college football, in my opinion, and they are playing a conference-only model. The Big Ten just did this. I think you have to see. Now, I know, Joel, you're not the biggest into college football. Like, I know you're into it, but
I know what this means.
Yeah, you know what this means.
I'm like, huh? Really?
Yeah. College football is my favorite thing in the world, honestly, and this is kind of annoying. But I'm mad, and I'm like saying this should have happened. But we'll get Joel into college football as the season goes on, if we have a season. Okay, but now Ohio State is not playing. Is only playing within their conference. Penn State is only playing within their conference. This means that the Big Ten is not playing in the college football playoff this year. If there is a college football playoff, now if the Big Ten did this. Expect the Big 12 to do this. Expect the SEC to do this. Expect the ACC, Power 5, and non-Power 5 conferences to do this because this is the safest way to play. You keep the virus contained within your general geographic. It makes the most sense. But for a college football perspective, this means that we're not getting a lot of big out-of-conference Big 10 and other conference games. The main one being Ohio State playing Oregon. And that was a massive.
So matchups like that are not going to happen.
Not happening. Nothing out of conference. And we saw this. This is happening after Ivy League completely cancels their season.
Oh yeah, they're done. Yeah,
they completely canceled their season. The Ivy League. Now the Big Ten is doing this in July. In early July, they're saying we're only playing in our conference, and college football starts in late August. Okay, so. To say that this might not be a domino that falls, this is going to cause a domino effect throughout the rest of college football. I fully expect the Big 12 to do this. I fully expect the SEC to do this and other Power 5 conferences. We will not have a college football playoff. We will have in-conference play, and the SEC championship and the Big 12 championship and the Big 10 championship will be their championships for that season. And there won't be a national champion. I think, maybe they'll have to determine that through computers and all that stuff. But there won't be a national champion in college football this year. So no playoff. We're just getting Big 10 play, SEC play, Pac-12 play, Big 12 play. And this is actually insane. And I have to look into it and see what happens in the coming hours. We're recording this on July 9th. So that's where we're getting this news right now.
That's very interesting, actually.
Yeah. What do you got to say about it?
Okay, well, like John just pointed out, I'm not the biggest when it comes to college football. I watch a little bit. I'm not too familiar with it, but
we're gonna work on it. Trust me.
Yeah. What I'm basically hearing is you're not going to see a lot of big matchups when it comes to like you said, Ohio State can't play teams like Oregon.
Yep.
Teams like Clemson, I believe, they're not in their division.
Yeah, but they weren't playing that this year. But situations like that, like if this happens with the ACC, Notre Dame, I guess, well, Notre Dame's independent. So if you see the ACC, like Notre Dame doesn't play in their own, they don't have a conference, but they usually play ACC teams. So Clemson, they
Okay,
play Wake Forest and other, teams that are just
like
irrelevant in
Duke.
college football. Florida State. Yeah, they usually play teams like that, and they play USC too.
Okay.
But for Notre Dame, I mean, are you going to play Notre Dame if you're, a team that has Notre Dame on their schedule? Because they're not in a conference. They're not in your conference. You're playing conference play. So are you going to let them play in the ACC this year? You can't really do that because of TV deals and how that's structured. But Notre Dame is going to be the biggest affected here. Yeah.
It's very early on in this, but like I feel like later on in the day, later on this week, you'll get more news when it comes to this. Like you might see a bunch of more conferences announce that, like, hey, we're only playing in our conference. We won't be able to they're gonna have to fix their scheduling, I'm sure.
Oh, 100. Oh, this is going to cause a huge ripple effect on the schedule, especially as teams continue to do this as well. And it's going to be insane. I don't know how they're going to do this. Again, we just started the show, and it's 3:47 Eastern Standard Time on July 9th. So this is the news we have now. I expect by the time this episode comes out, I'm expecting the rest of college football to have made the same decision or a similar decision, or potentially to cancel their season, because the Big Ten is, East Coast and Eastern Mideast teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Illinois is the farthest they go, or Michigan's the farthest they go. Wisconsin, that area too.
That's kind of like the equivalent to like the NFL saying only teams in the NFC are only playing NFC teams.
Yeah, or like the NFC East is doing their own tournament or something. But you think about the Big 12, and the Big 12 has, like 3 teams in Texas. The SEC has Florida. They have teams in the hotspots for COVID-19. So don't be surprised if you see the Big 12 come out and say, we're not playing football at all. And it's kind of funny I have an Oklahoma hat saying that because, we might not see Oklahoma versus Texas this year. We might not see Big 12 football this year. That's kind of ironic if that comes out while I'm wearing this hat. That means the most recent Big 12 champion will be Oklahoma if that happens. So I'm not mad at that.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I mean.
How convenient. How convenient.
Yeah, if that happens, it'll be a year since Texas beat Oklahoma, or it'll be a year. And, I think 3 years since Texas beat Oklahoma. So that's always a plus. Or 2 years. I'm bad at math. We know this.
We're terrible at math.
That's why we're doing this. So,
Yeah.
But that's big news for college football. I just wanted to get into that because
that's all right. Yeah, that is big news. It is big news.
It's the biggest news. It's actually the biggest news we'll have in the entire show. Although the other topics are very important. Actually, I lied. The next topic's pretty important. Let's just get straight into that because I think we've talked enough about college football right now.
We have
news to follow.
Yep.
News to follow. Right. We'll keep you posted on the Instagram. How about that? There we go.
Look at that. We could.
There we go. Add on the break podcast. Self promo. Shameless plug. But we're gonna get to a topic that's a bit serious now. That serious to some people, and some people just do not care about this stuff. But it's something that needs to change, and I think the word "change" let you know what this is. It's the name of the Washington Redskins. The Washington Redskins have decided that they will be changing their name, or are looking into it at the very least.
They're looking into it. Yeah.
But I mean, I did see a tweet from Schefter, or I believe it was Adam Schefter, saying that in a name change, there would be no more Native American imagery, just to mention that. So it's in the works, and it's more likely than not that the Washington Redskins will be no more by the start of this season. And players are pushing for it, and Ron Rivera is also pushing for it to ownership and management as well. Now, the big thing, right? It was, people have been, talking about this and, for lack of a better term, complaining and pushing this out of the way. But the big thing, FedEx, the sponsor of their field, their stadium, hence the name FedEx Field, backed out. They said, we don't want to sponsor you anymore. We're not sponsoring you anymore. We're taking our money and we're running. And other investors said, we're doing the same thing.
Nike.
Yeah,
Nike said the same thing.
Nike took down all Washington Redskins apparel from their store, right? This is it's the biggest push that's ever been thrown at the Washington Redskins, and it looks like it's working for them. It looks like it's working for their teams.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this was just a long time coming.
It was.
Yeah. Especially with what you see going on in the world with, the social and racial tension going on right now, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement And that's a big reason that's got pushed in the first place. So, good on the world for getting this done, honestly. And I want to hear your thoughts about it, Joel, because, I mean, we haven't really talked about this yet, because
it's
we
funny
saved this
because
stuff for the show,
we kind of did touch on it a little bit last week.
Yeah.
We made a joke about the Jets, and you were like,
yeah, I made a joke about it. I said, change the name, please. And here we go a week later, and they're changing the name. So that's kind of crazy.
This happened before.
Predictions.
Right?
This is why you stay. Okay. But I do want to hear your thoughts about it.
Okay, so I don't really like quoting from people a lot, especially from like shows on ESPN.
Yeah.
But this is just something that it just stuck with me. I want to quote something that Max Kellerman said on First Take.
Okay.
That I found it very interesting. So he said, he started watching football when he was around the age of 8 years old, and he was watching TV with his dad, and he saw the Redskins on TV, and he kind of looked at his dad, and he was like, "Really? Like, you can call a team that? Like, they're named the Redskins?" And his dad was like, "Yeah, it's kind of weird." That was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
All the way to this day, it's still a problem that hasn't been resolved at all. People are just kind of like, well, what are you going to do? Like, what do you mean? And it's just very ridiculous to me because it's like, you don't really put any thought to it when, you're watching football and you're like, oh, yeah, the Redskins are playing the Giants. And then you're just like, why are they called that again?
Yeah.
Why are they called – why'd you call a team the Redskins? Like that. And you made the logo, a Native American, a tribe, with the feathers and everything.
Very stereotypical.
It's very odd. That is very odd that you chose that. And I don't know. I think it's a great move that they're looking into changing the name now. Better late than sorry. I like that they're doing this now. It's just, I don't know. Why did it take so long? Why did it take so long to really look at this? It really took this long for FedEx and for Nike and for all these other players that, love the Redskins. They say that, why is their name the Redskins? It took them that long to say that?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
really,
just
really strange, to be honest, with the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the big reason, though, I think, to really explain why this didn't change, in the 70s, Washington had a history of winning Super Bowls. They had a lot of great players. And, as racist as the name comes off, I think one thing that Dan Snyder's used this. And I don't know if you know who Doug Williams is. He was the first African-American quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And he was playing for the Washington Redskins when they won that Super Bowl. He was on the Redskins. He had a phenomenal game. And I think Dan Snyder, after that game, I don't know if that really has anything directly to do with it. But, I don't think Dan Snyder probably didn't care that was a thing. He was just like, oh, we won a Super Bowl. Cool. It wasn't like this big, social moment. Like, this really happened in the National Football League. And, it wasn't that long ago. I know, 40, it was I think it was 80 something. I'm not going to, don't quote me on that. But it was also another moment wow, it really took that long for someone, for that to be a thing, for a non-white quarterback to go ahead and win a Super Bowl. It took that long, but I mean, Dan Snyder has always been stuck in this tradition as a man. He does not, he's a guy that doesn't like change. And that's kind of a big thing that's going on today, is that people don't want to change. And because they don't want to change, it doesn't, you don't notice that the Redskins is a racist name. You don't notice a lot of the other micro racist things that could be going on in the world that you do or someone does. And this whole movement has been a thing to kind of take a look at that, take a step back and look at all these things, and it's a great thing that's going on. Criticisms you may have, but it's resulting in something great in the Washington Redskins name being changed. And, it's just something that needs to change. It needed to happen. Yeah.
Now, I was just going to get into, speaking of change, if we were to change the name,
right,
what would you call it? What would you prefer the name would be for the upcoming years? Because let's be honest, whatever name you pick is going to be here for a very long time.
Right. I think if Washington picks a name, it won't change for a very long time, obviously. Unless
you're going to change the name. There's a great chance you could probably change the uniforms.
Yeah, you can change the color scheme entirely.
You probably. Yeah. And then you're going to have to change the logo, which is a big thing, I think.
Yeah.
So
I think that was the biggest thing, honestly. I think the logo was just stuck out to so many people. I've actually put a bit of thought into this, and I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter. But recently, this isn't what I would want, although it would be cool. The Washington Generals and the Harlem Globetrotters have had their rivalry, if you want to call it that. But the Generals have never beaten the Globetrotters. It's fake basketball, but it's still funny. It's something like that. But the Generals, I mean, people were putting out rumors that, hey, they could buy the Generals the rights to their name. Wouldn't be that expensive, and they would get a good team name. You have the Washington Generals not only having history with the Harlem Globetrotters, a very, big thing that popularizes basketball in its own way, but you also have the military history of Washington, D.C. itself, and Generals is just kind of a double meaning in that sense. So I think that'll be very cool if that happens. And I think that's kind of the more realistic one to go off of. This other one, I don't think it's going to happen, although it would be a great thing. And I think I've mentioned this to you, and I actually got into this a little bit on the Instagram. We did a recent post kind of previewing this topic, and I said the Washington Red Tails. The Red Tails were the first, were the Tuskegee Airmen, the nation's first African-American aerial combat unit. And they made a movie about it too. It's been a very big cultural thing, and it's something that a lot of people mentioned actually right when this name came about. So, but not just because it would show change, it would show kind of a new leaf turned over potentially for Dan Snyder himself. I know it only it only took the money to come out of his pocket for him to really think about this, but it's changing, and that's a good thing as far as we know.
It's funny how you mentioned this, because I do have the Washington Red Tails as a potential new name.
Yeah, I think everybody wants the Red Tails. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's what we all want.
I just want to touch on it a little bit. First of all, this is what Dwayne Haskins said on Twitter, the quarterback of the Washington Redskins. He said he preferred the Red Tails.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, he said, because somebody asked him, like, if you were to change the name, and he was like, I really like the Red Tails. Yeah. Like, he actually really liked it. And yeah, like you mentioned, the Tuskegee Airmen, their first, black military aviators.
Yep.
They did missions in Europe and North Africa during World War II. They defended the nation's capital. They defended the nation. I think the name is a lot more honorable. Now, granted, this was in I believe they took place in Alabama.
Yeah, that's what Tuskegee is, I believe.
Yeah,
maybe wrong, but I believe so.
I think the name is honorable for the nation's capital. The fact that they defended the nation.
Yeah,
they did missions in Europe and North Africa, like I said. So, if you were to do this, I don't think you have to change the color scheme, which I think is it's an easy fix, really. You just got to change the Redskins that it says on the top of the chest. The helmets you might have to change. You might have to change
all you really have to do is change the logo and some details in the jersey and helmet. I mean, it's not that big of a change. The biggest thing, though, was keeping the HTTR, which was originally Hail to the Redskins. You can easily just change that to Hail to the Red Tails and call it a day. It's not as big of a change for Redskins fans. Yeah. You got to remember, the Redskins had fans, okay, and there were fans that were very loyal to this team and really liked, they got into it, for whatever reasons it was for, but they really get into it. And they also have this like Hogs thing going on. I don't really know where that came from, but they do it. They did it with everybody Super Bowls.
That was trending for a bit. I saw that.
They still do it. No, they still do it. They do it every game. There's still Hogs people. Yeah.
It was like the Washington Hogs, and I was kind of like,
No, yeah, that's been a thing. They had a song that was all like, "How about them Hogs?" instead of "How about them Cowboys?" It was a whole thing in like the 70s and 80s and even 90s. But if you do like do a wild boar, I mean, I don't care. Just as long as it's, as long as you're right.
I like both our choices though, because especially for Red Tails, the more I say it, the Washington Red Tails.
It sounds
right. It rolls off the tongue. The Washington Generals. It rolls off the tongue. It's pretty good. So like, name changing and like making a new logo, I don't think it's really that hard. I don't think it would be that difficult. It's just, when will it happen? That's a big thing. I'm wrong. I believe somebody pointed out on Twitter that the name will change before the season resumes.
Yeah, Ron Rivera said he was hopeful that they would change before the season. So, if we have a season, of course, but still. Well, I think we're going to still. Obviously, we've said this. We still think they're going to be football games. How long is the question, especially when we see it with college football. Anything else you want to add to that? Because I think we've gotten into it pretty much.
Not really. I feel like we talked about it enough, but to get some more news about the NFL, this past week we've had a few trade talks, a few trade requests. One of which, David Njoku, tight end for the Cleveland Browns, has requested a trade. And, at first we were thinking, like, this is probably the biggest news in trade talks that's happened in the NFL. Just yesterday, as we're filming this, like we said, July 9th, this happened yesterday, Raheem Mostert, running back for the 49ers, has also requested a trade.
Our plans are just out of the window at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a plan, I believe, on Wednesday or Tuesday, and then stuff just started rolling in. Even today, we had the college football thing that we spent 10 minutes on or whatever. But yeah, keep going.
So, yeah, David Njoku, I think it's pretty simple. He obviously sees the signing of Austin Hooper, who last year come on, he's a better tight end than David Njoku. As at least he improved enough that he can be a starter. That he was amazing in fantasy. Let me tell you that right now.
Oh,
for sure. He was amazing.
I had Njoku. He wasn't as amazing.
No, but David Njoku, even, 2 years ago, he was in talks of being a top 10 tight end in the league.
Yeah.
Because of the way he was producing.
Yeah.
But obviously he got hurt last year. Browns are looking to move on with Austin Hooper. David Njoku still believes that he wants to be a starter. He wants to trade. I feel like that's pretty simple. It's fair to him. Raheem Mostert is the only one that I'm really I'm struggling to understand, because
I looked into it.
I'm struggling to understand it only in the aspect of the 49ers said, okay, well, we're obviously Tevin Coleman and Raheem Mostert, they showed a lot of promise to us last year. Let's make it, instead of the 3, let's make it you 2. We'll trade Matt Breida to the Dolphins. You can make a 1-2 punch. You both get more snaps. Pretty simple enough. Raheem Mostert wants to get paid. That's a problem. He wants to get paid. Now, we see this trend consistently with Melvin Gordon. You saw it with Todd Gurley. And now you're currently seeing it with Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook announced that he is holding out until he gets paid. And it's just, I don't know, because I don't think running backs, especially guys like Raheem Mostert, understand how replaceable they are. I don't think they understand it, because exactly, we talked about it before.
Yep.
Why would I pay you, a running back, the most injury-prone position in football, a 4-year deal, you get hurt, I look like a dumbass. I literally look stupid. And I could have easily have drafted a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round that could probably put up better numbers than what you did. So why would I? And look what happened with Melvin Gordon. He held out. He thought he was doing something pretty good, pretty smart, holding out with the Chargers, to only sign with the Broncos on a lesser deal.
He's a backup running back now.
He's a backup.
Yeah.
He's literally a backup.
So at least splitting snaps.
And Todd Gurley, I mean, that's a different reason. Obviously, he was hurt. I understand that. Arthritis in his knees, I believe, something like that, or at least one of them.
Yeah.
And he's signing a 1-year deal with the Falcons. Not a lot of money. I think what is it, like $1 million, $2 million, something like that?
I don't think it was that cheap. I think he got a decent amount of money. Yeah,
it was cheap.
I don't know the exact numbers on it, and I don't want to just look it up right now. But it wasn't a lot of money. Yeah. It definitely wasn't the money he was asking for.
No,
Rams.
No, it wasn't.
So that's the main point.
A guy like Dalvin Cook, I feel like the same thing's happening to him, because Dalvin Cook knows on the offense he is the face of the Vikings. He is. There's no question of that. But it's running backs believing that, okay, they had one amazing year. Dalvin Cook was hurt all last year. He was hurt the year before that. And this is the 1 year where he didn't get hurt as much. What did he miss? 4 games? Something like that, later on in the season. And, yeah, he put up fantastic numbers. He looked like a for sure running back 1. But the problem is, why am I going to pay you someone who's been injured so many times? You had one amazing year. You want Ezekiel Elliott money like he got last year. You want Christian McCaffrey money. Why would I ever give you that? Christian McCaffrey, Ezekiel Elliott, these guys have not had the injuries that Dalvin Cook has had. They put up better, if not as good as numbers as Dalvin Cook has. And I don't know if Raheem Mostert believes that he's on the level of these guys. I hope he doesn't, because come on, you're not. But
not even close.
Not even close. But, yeah, he's asking for money that the 49ers are just not willing to pay. And, I mean, hey, you signed Tevin Coleman for a reason. You have a running back. It's not like, you're not going to – your running back game is over. You still have a good running back. I'm pretty sure they drafted a running back too. I'm not exactly sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did. The teams usually
think,
do like the 6th round, 5th round. But.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I really don't understand why you're asking for a trade when you were in a pretty good position. And I guarantee I'm making this prediction right now. Whatever team he signs with, I don't really care what team he signs with. He's probably gonna get a 2-year deal, less money than what the 49ers are going to offer him, because they don't understand that. They don't understand that the money they're asking for, they are not worth until they actually hit free agency and see the offers they're getting. And they're like, oh, wow, like, where's the money I'm asking for? Like, no one's going to give it to you. Nobody's dumb enough to give you that amount of money so you can just get hurt and then they look stupid.
Yeah. It's interesting. Random news from Adam Schefter. It's not big. The NFL just banned post-game player jersey exchanges. Just a random note.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah, it happened like, an hour ago?
I just got the notification now. Just wanted to throw that in there. But I was looking at Raheem Mostert, and apparently what I was seeing on Twitter somewhere, I forgot who it was from. It was from a verified account. Don't worry. Apparently, Tevin Coleman, he got more money. He's getting paid, I believe, $4.5 million. I think Raheem Mostert said he wanted the money Tevin Coleman was getting, and then the 49ers said, no, because we don't want to pay you that, and we are trying to work with the cap here. We have to sign our defensive players. We have a guy named Nick Bosa who's going to ask for a ton of money in 3 years. We don't want to we don't want to spend all this money. We want to kind of keep you on your deal. And, I think Raheem Mostert felt a little disrespected because he had a great end of season and playoffs.
Oh, yeah, he did.
I mean,
there's no doubt.
He balled out, but he didn't do it consistently. And, he wasn't a big piece in the Super Bowl either. And I think that might have been a mistake to not play him as much as they did. And they played a lot of Coleman, and they played a lot of Breda too, honestly. They didn't play a lot of Mostert. He just wasn't – I guess he didn't fit the scheme they were trying to run against the Chiefs. But it makes sense for Raheem Mostert if he's asking for the $4.5 million. Obviously, Raheem Mostert is not getting paid Christian McCaffrey money, I don't think, ever in his career. And if he does, we can come back to this and say I was wrong. But I don't think Raheem Mostert has the talent that Dalvin Cook has, Ezekiel Elliott has, Christian McCaffrey has. But he can get there if he, develops and he has his untapped potential that I don't know about. But it's going to be interesting to see where he goes potentially. Now, David Njoku, I had a destination for him. It was the Los Angeles Chargers because
that's a good pick.
Both their tight ends are leaving. Are they're free agents after this year? You get Njoku, tight end. Hunter Henry's been injured 3 times. Torn his ACL, I believe, 3 times. So getting Njoku, a guy who's been relatively healthy except for last year, it's not a bad move there. If you spend a 5th-round pick, who cares? What are you going to get? A backup, 3rd-string corner?
Like you said before, I just want to I have nothing much to say about this. I just want to touch on it, but I know the Arizona Cardinals have made an offer for David Njoku.
Interesting. That's very interesting, actually. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so they have made an offer. I'm not sure what it is. Obviously nothing has happened yet, but I just wanted to bring that out there. They're one of the few teams that have made an offer, and I'm just aware of the Cardinals doing that.
All right, we'll see about that, actually, because if it's a 5th-round pick and no one else offers one, he's going to be an Arizona Cardinal. So that's good. That's interesting to see. And, I guess the Cardinals and Browns are going to be attached to the hip for the next 10 years. It seems like they're going to have this weird connection because not only Baker and Kyler, both Oklahoma players, but they also had that game last year, and it's just going to be interesting there. But that's just it's just weird teams like that. I don't know how that happens. Like the Giants and the Patriots just randomly get connected at a conference.
Yeah, randomly.
Yeah, but it's just a random thing to think about. But I don't know. I don't know if Raheem Mostert's going to leave. If they say we'll give you $3.5 million, and Raheem Mostert takes it, there you go, done deal, right? But I mean, Raheem Mostert, he's not, he's a starter, but he's not a star. So
yeah, I do believe that he, especially on the Niners, he did look like a running back 1 because
great system.
The system fits for him.
Yeah,
but you really think you can go to a team let's say, I don't know, the Eagles, and you're gonna start over Miles Sanders?
You don't have the talent.
No.
I can if I put Miles Sanders in the 49ers system, he's doing very similar things to what Raheem Mostert did in San Francisco.
Yeah,
And
it's
even
like
take DeAndre Swift and put him in there. That's how replaceable running backs are. And you could talk about that for hours and just go case by case for
yeah,
each running back.
exactly.
You see Chuba Hubbard potentially winning a Heisman with Oklahoma State. There's so many running backs coming out. Travis Etienne didn't leave because of how flooded this running back class was. And he's a senior staying at Clemson, which might be a mistake now, seeing if they play a season. But it's just there's
I
so
I
much
love the fact
talent.
I love the fact that you brought up DeAndre Swift because I've always wanted to get into that because Kerryon Johnson, he is a good running back. He is good. It's just he's always freaking hurt.
Yeah, you're injured,
He's
replaceable,
always
gone.
hurt. So it's literally the Lions saying, you know what? We're gonna draft who we believe is the best running back in this draft, and you better shape up. Like you better do something for us. Like you stop getting hurt. Like, oh my, you're really frustrating us right now.
High pick
You're
on him too,
frustrating
second
the
round
team.
pick.
Yeah, and it's like we would not be drafting this guy if we didn't think that he could develop into a star. Like, because or we wouldn't have doubts about you. So the fact that we're doing this right now is saying, okay, like the media is saying that we're gonna have a 1-2 punch. No, we're not. This is your year. You better produce. If not, you're out of here. We're going with DeAndre Swift, who we believe is the best running back in this draft.
And that's how easily you can get off running backs.
Yeah, it's so easy. That's the problem. It's so easy to be replaced. They don't understand that.
Half of it is offensive line, half the time. That's just what the game is now. It's a passing game. Now, you see a guy like Derrick Henry the Titans have returned Smash Mouth football, but teams don't play Smash Mouth football. But I think we've had enough of that. We've talked about that quite a bit, and we're going to continue with draft talk. Actually, we're going to end our NFL discussion. I believe this is all we had left for the NFL, and we're going to get into our best drafts that we thought teams did, and our worst drafts. And it might not be as obvious as you might think, but we'll get into that. We're going to start with the best drafts. I'm going to start with my best draft for now, might as well. And
okay.
A lot of people said the Baltimore Ravens, right? And yeah, they had a fantastic draft. They drafted Patrick.
They had a great draft.
They did a great draft. I am not taking anything away from the draft.
J.K. Dobbins in the second round.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful pick right
Amazing.
There. I mean, they got, I believe, Devin Duvernay out of Texas in like the 5th round. He's a great receiver. I watched him completely burn Big 12 corners because I watch a lot of Big 12 football because of Oklahoma, obviously, and he was just an absolute monster in the Big 12. Now, the Big 12 has been criticized for defense, but the talent is still there. The Big 12 is the best conference to showcase your talent as an offensive player because of how weak the defense is. But he still showed out. Him and Colin Johnson showed out. And the Ravens just have a solid draft. Now, there's a draft that I like, and it's from the Dallas Cowboys. I know people like to say the Dallas Cowboys, always blow this kind of stuff. But obviously, we've talked about CeeDee Lamb. I've talked about how great he is. If you want to hear me completely, kiss this man's feet, you can go watch the last episode. We got into it, and he was the best receiver in college football last year, in my opinion. A lot of people say
it's also on TikTok.
It is on TikTok. You're right.
It is on TikTok.
Doing pretty well.
Follow the TikTok.
And yeah, of course. And they also drafted Trevon Diggs, the corner out of Alabama, at 51 overall. I thought he was a first-round talent, and they got him in the 2nd round. He was a completely stud corner last year, and he's the brother of Stephon Diggs, so there's talent in the family, and it's at the cornerback position there. Now, in the 3rd round, I know you're going to say, oh, he's praising an Oklahoma player. Neville Gallimore, the defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. He was an absolute game wrecker last year. They got him in the 3rd round. I thought there's potential he gets drafted early 2nd, right? I think they just got great value was my big thing. You see Reggie Robinson, corner of Tulsa. We don't know a lot about him. We didn't see him in a lot of big play. But, I'm going to pronounce this guy's name wrong. Tyler Biadasz, okay?
Biadasz, I believe.
Biadasz? Yes.
I think.
I watched Wisconsin games last year, and, Wisconsin.
He's a center, yeah.
He's a center, and they need a center after seeing Travis Frederick leave due to health issues and other things as well. And, that's a big loss. You draft a guy in the 4th round in him, and with the way the Cowboys produce offensive linemen, they're great at training that position. And you get a guy out of Wisconsin that produces is probably top 5 offensive lineman university right there. So they are absolutely fantastic there, right? You have a lot of players there that are going to be very good. There's a lot of players there that are going to be very good. And even, I mean, the other one, they drafted an edge out of Utah, Bradley Anae, and Ben DiNucci, quarterback out of James Madison, great FCS school. But the Cowboys, I think they just had the best value, is what I'm really going to say there. They had great value. And that's why I think they had the best draft. The Ravens drafted players where they're supposed to be drafted. I mean, Patrick Queen might have slowed a little bit, but that's kind of where a lot of people hadn't projected. But, to get Neville Gallimore so late, to get Trevon Diggs so late, to get CeeDee Lamb so late, great value picks. What do you think?
I do agree that the Dallas Cowboys had a great draft. I do think they had a good draft. They had a lot of steals. Let's put that right there. They had a lot of steals in this draft. But when I look at a team's draft grade, how they did in the draft, I look at the guys they drafted and I say to myself, can they start right away? And I see a lot of that with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
I see a lot of – okay, so you have Justin Jefferson, who everybody thought he was going to be an Eagle. I had him going to the Eagles. I thought there is no way Justin Jefferson is going to make it past the Eagles. And then you draft Jalen Reagor. I'm not saying it was a bad pick, but –
I'll say it was.
I just thought Justin Jefferson was, so much better. I thought he was, so underrated. And the fact that they passed on him, let him go to the Eagles, it's great for the Vikings. They finally find a guy to replace what Stephon Diggs was, or even Laquan Treadwell, because I don't know. I feel like
he wasn't that great. He wasn't that great.
I feel like more Adam Thielen's going to be the wide receiver 1 for sure.
100%.
And Justin Jefferson at the wide receiver 2. They got Jeff Gladney, corner out of TCU, who I thought was great. He's there to replace Xavier Rhodes, who, they nicknamed him Burnt Toast for a reason, because he was got burned on every play.
Bad.
Oh my God. But and what was it? I believe it was late second. They got Ezra Cleveland.
Yeah.
And they've been struggling at tackle for a while. He's someone I believe can start. I had him going to I believe I had him going to the Dolphins in the first round. I believe I did.
Yeah, I think I did as well. Yeah.
Late first. I thought he was really good. And then, they had a good corner in Jeff Gladney. I thought they drafted another one. They said, let's get another corner. Let's get Cameron Dantzler. I thought was a fantastic move for them. They want to completely revamp their DBs. They want to improve the defense. And I believe they also drafted they drafted Troy Dye, linebacker out of Oregon.
Yes, I loved that pick so much.
I was in love with this pick because I thought he was going to be a second-round pick, maybe early third. They got him in the 4th round. I thought this was a steal and a half for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
I saw this pick. I was like, how is he still on the board? I thought he was I thought he would be gone by now. But yeah, the fact that they got him, I thought was a huge steal. But yeah, looking at just those guys alone, I could definitely see those guys starting for the Minnesota Vikings. I could see them starting literally week 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like what the Cowboys did, but I feel like they got more of luxury than they did of actual need. They got more want. Let's be real for a second. They were not going into the draft saying, okay, let's get a wide receiver in the 1st round. They were not saying that.
It was an opportunity they took.
Because, exactly, they saw CeeDee Lamb was there. They were like, okay, well, Xavier McKinney's here. Jeff Gladney's here. But CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
But CeeDee Lamb.
I mean, we talked about it. The Cowboys don't like safeties. We talked about this.
But
Jamal Adams in the first episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but see, for me, I feel like their best pick was Trevon Diggs. I'm not gonna say CeeDee Lamb only because I don't feel like he was a need for them. I thought their wide receivers were fine, really, and yeah, the fact that they got Trevon Diggs and they needed a corner, and I agree with you. I thought he was gonna be a 1st-round pick. Man, the fact that they got him second and still got CeeDee Lamb, I thought that was a great opportunity for them, and yeah, they took it. But when I look at guys starting, I think the Minnesota Vikings had the best overall draft. Now, we're going to get into our worst drafts. I want to start off.
Yeah, you can go first. You go first.
I want to start
this is the one time we actually know what each other's doing. At least
know.
me. But
Yeah, we know. Okay,
get into
'cause
it. This is gonna be fun, I think.
I'm gonna be saying what I believe almost every NFL fan base is saying, and you're gonna say your own thing. That's basically.
I like playing devil's advocate, but I also believe to a degree.
Let's see how this goes. So, my worst draft is it should be obvious to most people. The Green Bay Packers. Okay. Now, I have no problem with the Jordan Love pick. I actually had Jordan Love going to the Green Bay Packers in my original mock draft. I feel like it's a great pick. You should look at replacing Aaron Rodgers. You know, he's getting up there in age. I do defend that. I do appreciate that, them wanting to take an opportunity at a quarterback they really like. Here's my problem. Their entire goal in this draft was to get help for Aaron Rodgers. I don't think they did that. I don't think they did that at all. Now, they fixed the defense in the offseason last year. They fixed the defense. You saw how Aaron was. They went, 12-4?
Yeah, something like 11-5. They made the NFC Championship game. That was a big thing.
Made the NFC Championship game, one game away from the Super Bowl. They played very well. Now, it was just, God, if you just had that one weapon, if you just had one more weapon, right? Second round, they have an opportunity to do that. They draft A.J. Dillon. They draft another running back. You had Aaron Jones. You had Jamal Williams, who I thought were pretty good running backs. They literally said, let's draft another running back when we could have had a wide receiver. Let's draft a running back. Not even to mention, they didn't draft a wide receiver at all in this draft. Literally, I feel like their best pick, besides, Jordan Love, because picks that can start right away, because Jordan Love's not starting. You know that. We know that already.
He's not starting for 4 years.
Probably.
Yeah.
But I thought Josiah DeGuara, the third-round pick, tight end out of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I thought that was their best pick. I literally thought that was their best pick. Other than that, it was like it's just confusing to me.
Okay.
Because A.J. Dillon, yeah, I'm not saying he's a bad running back. He's a good running back, but why would you draft him when you have Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams? And, now there's talks of Aaron Rodgers not even finishing his career with the Packers because of how bad this went. Like, when you go to a draft, when you're drafting a team, the guys you bring in should bring your team closer together. They should make your team better. And I can't say that about the Green Bay Packers. I can't. Because now you got a pissed off Aaron Rodgers. Now you have running backs who are saying, wait, am I going to get less snaps now because you drafted a running back in the second round? And the only guy I would see be happy right now is Josiah DeGuara because they just got rid of I'm blank on his name. He just signed with the
Jimmy Graham.
There you go.
Yeah, I got you.
I would blank on his name. He's irrelevant these days now.
Today, yeah, on the Saints, he was a top 5 tight end, but he was relevant. But that's besides the point. I'm gonna start my case here.
Go ahead.
All right. So here's the thing: was the Packers draft good? No, I won't say it was a good draft. I don't think it was the worst draft. A lot of people say it was the worst draft because of the Jordan Love thing, trading up to get a quarterback. We saw another team trade up and go get their quarterback. And the Kansas City Chiefs did it, and they drafted a guy by the name of Patrick Mahomes who got paid a $500 million contract that has a Super Bowl and MVP. He sat a year under Alex Smith. And I think also, if you look at the short term, they have the short term and the long term covered. Now, I would have liked to see a receiver get picked by the Packers, but they added a lot of depth in this draft at the offensive line, at defensive. I know the 7th round doesn't really matter, but I liked Kamal Martin out of Minnesota. Minnesota played amazing this year, and Kamal Martin was a part of that. He was a big part of that at linebacker. So this was a depth draft, and the depth is something that the Packers needed. They gave up so many rushing yards in the Super Bowl. You had to really at least fix your depth there, because the main reason the Packers defense wasn't good is because they don't have depth, and they fixed that a bit this draft. Now, but you talk about the wide receivers. There was a team by the name of the New England Patriots that won 6 Super Bowls. And in those 6 Super Bowls, their number one receivers were, I mean, you have Rob Gronkowski, obviously, but he wasn't in all those Super Bowls. The number one receivers were slot guys, Wes Welker and Julian Edelman. They were the biggest pieces in those Super Bowls. You have Devontae Adams. The Packers have an on-par receiving core with the New England Patriots, winning 6 Super Bowls. So, I mean, obviously, Aaron Rodgers, he needs a weapon. He needs another weapon to add to that offense, and I would have liked to see Brandon Ayuk maybe get picked there. That would have been nice, but I do like the Jordan Love pick. He was great at Utah State. You could say he didn't play the competition, but he did his thing out there, and he was a great quarterback in this draft class. And, you know, you look at Tua, question marks. You look at Herbert, question marks. The only question mark around Jordan Love really is, hey, you got to develop this guy. And Justin Herbert is not in a situation where he can really develop and sit. He's in a situation where they want him to play, unless if they want Tyrod Taylor going in. The Packers have Aaron Rodgers, and obviously we saw this with Brett Favre, and the Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers at actually the same exact slot in the draft.
They're saying he got farved, right?
He did. He did get farved.
He got far.
Yeah.
They made a term out of it now.
And I think Aaron Rodgers, he wanted to play in Green Bay for the rest of his career, but he's open to leaving. And I don't think for the Packers that's a bad thing. You know, everybody loves Aaron Rodgers. I love Aaron Rodgers. He's one of the most talented quarterbacks I've seen in the history of the National Football League. But the guy only won 1 Super Bowl. What is I don't know what's changing from last year. I mean, obviously last year the Packers played great, but I don't know what's changing about Aaron Rodgers besides his age that's making people say like that, you know, just adding one more weapon is going to win the Packers Super Bowl when the NFC is absolutely loaded. I don't know if it is. I don't know if, you know, Aaron Rodgers is getting old. He's getting injured. He's still great, but he's declining. You have to fix that. You know, do you think the Packers are really going to let a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers who isn't good anymore play because he wants to, simply because he's a Packer? The Packers did the same thing to Brett Favre. They said, dude, you know, you got to retire. Packers fans are saying, hey, you got to get out of here, man. So you have to change that. And I thought A.J. Dillon was a phenomenal running back out of college, Boston College. He tore up the field every time he went on the field. He was my sleeper of this draft. Obviously in a loaded running back class, but you got a lot of talent there. And you saw the 49ers. They had 3 running backs this year. The Chiefs had a 3 running back system. The Packers are going to have a 3 running back system. And I think that's the best way to go in this day and age in the National Football League. But the worst draft, I think the Justin Jefferson thing might have previewed that. The Philadelphia Eagles had the absolute worst draft of this year. And it's not just the Justin Jefferson pick. They were terrible at the top of the draft. I mean, Jalen Reagor, I like Jalen Reagor, but passing up on Justin Jefferson, a guy who outshined Jamar Chase, the Fred Biletnikoff winner in the playoff game against Oklahoma, scoring 4 touchdowns. Obviously, against an Oklahoma defense that doesn't have the greatest secondary when it comes to SEC teams and the playoff teams, they were a very improved defense this year. And it's just, you know, you like speed guys, but a lot of comparisons to Nelson Aguilar. And obviously, Eagles fans,
that's bad.
I don't like that. You don't want to be compared to that guy.
That's a bad comparison.
You don't want to be compared to Nelson Aguilar. He drops catches like nothing. His drop rate is insane, Jalen Reagor. The speed. He has the speed to get open. He drops a lot of footballs. And in the second round, the worst pick in the entire draft, Jalen Hurts in the second round. Okay.
I heard. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay. I love Jalen Hurts as a player. He was a 4th-round talent to me. He's not a quarterback that can start in the NFL. He just doesn't have the arm talent to do it. He's a very cerebral player. He's a very smart player, and he can do a lot with his legs. But a lot of what he does with his legs is using his physicality, and you can't do that in the NFL. You know, people said that Lamar Jackson could run. No, he could run because he goes out of bounds. He has the speed. Jalen Hurts doesn't have the speed to keep up with these guys in the National Football League. So he's going to be a backup quarterback. You say, oh, it relieves Carson Wentz because of his injury history. The Taysom Hill system isn't proven to win. I mean, you had, you know, Davion Taylor out of Colorado. I just don't like drafting players out of Colorado. They were okay this year, but, I mean, Taylor was good. Kevon Wallace out of Clemson, I like that pick. That's a great pick. I think that was their best pick. Kevon Wallace out of Clemson, a great safety, and they needed safety help as well. If they pair him with Jamal Adams, that's a great that's a great secondary right there. Jack Driscoll, offensive tackle out of Auburn. I mean, you got an Auburn tackle. You drafted 2 Auburn tackles. You drafted Prince Tega Wanogo.
That's the pick. That's the pick that I thought was, other than the Jalen Reagor situation, I thought that was their best pick.
Yeah,
I thought that was a great pick.
I think they did well doing a very obvious thing, drafting tackles that played for SEC schools. I mean, you do that. Auburn has great offensive line talent. But it's a lot of, unproven stuff. They got John Hightower, wide receiver out of Boise State, and then Quez Watkins, wide receiver out of Southern Mississippi. It didn't even say, okay. It went over to the next line when I was reading this thing. And
it's fine.
Yeah. But it's just a lot of guys that there's so many question marks around everybody. Every single player they drafted, besides Kevon Wallace, has a question mark around them. And I think the Eagles are not going to see a lot of success out of this draft. Also, they use Jalen Hurts right, and I don't know if they will. So, what do you think about my defense of the Packers and my note about the Eagles?
Well, I was thinking about the 3 running back system that you were talking about. It worked for the 49ers. Now, I think it worked for them because Jimmy Garoppolo didn't really pass the ball as much as Aaron Rodgers will. You know what I mean?
That's Matt LaFleur wants to change that.
Matt LaFleur wants to.
That's Matt LaFleur's system. He's actually changing that more so Aaron Rodgers throws a lot of play action passes and they run the ball a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, even I know Colin Cowherd has a lot of bad takes, but he mentioned that, and that's what Matt LaFleur. I mean, even if you just look at Matt LaFleur, that's what he does. I mean, the Packers ran the ball a lot last year compared to years prior, and it's just as he continues to introduce his offense, it's going to be that. And Jordan Love is a great quarterback for that. Matt LaFleur is not Mike McCarthy. Matt LaFleur wants to put his own thing in Green Bay. This is his team. It's not Mike McCarthy's team. It's not even Aaron Rodgers' team anymore. It's Matt LaFleur's. So that 3 running back system that gets you to the Super Bowl, that's what he wants to do.
My only thing with why I believe the Eagles had a little better draft than what the Packers did is because they wanted a wide receiver. There was talks before the draft even happened that the Eagles are going to draft Kenneth Murray, and
they need him.
Eagles fans were furious because they've been wanting a wide receiver. Well, they need a wide receiver because they lost Nelson Aguilar, which it's not really a loss. Let's be honest.
They gained,
but they probably gained from losing him. But they didn't really have any wide receivers, and they're one of their best wide receivers last year, which isn't saying much, is Greg Ward. I didn't even know who he was before.
That's out of position. I don't even think he was a receiver in college. From what I remember, I think he had quarterback history.
And so I mean, I like the fact that they picked a wide receiver. They needed one, and the fact that these linebacker talks were happening. It's like, well, no kidding. We've been wanting a linebacker for years now. I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm just saying. Yeah. But
from their perspective.
The fact that, you decided to almost pick a linebacker in the year that we also don't have any wide receivers, it's like, you couldn't do that last year? You couldn't do that you couldn't re-sign Jordan Hicks?
Or when they picked Nelson Aguilar back then.
When they picked Nelson Aguilar. But they did not pick a linebacker, at least in the first round. I don't know if they did later on, but I think you mentioned they did, right? Like later on, they did.
They picked linebacker out of Colorado, Davion Taylor.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, but yeah, I like the fact that they picked a wide receiver who they believe fits the system more.
Yeah.
Like I talked about with Henry Ruggs last year, he fits the Eagles system. Now, I'm not gonna defend the the Jalen Hurts pick. I'm not.
I think I put it good enough. I mean,
Yeah.
It's hard to defend.
As a Giants fan, that made me happy. I saw that. I was like, they really picked Jalen Hurts.
If Carson Wentz gets hurt, Jalen Hurts goes in. Sign me up.
Sure, why not?
He's not there. But I think that's enough draft talk. I think it's enough NFL talk. This is going on for a bit. We actually walked into this episode thinking it was going to be a little shorter. It's dragging on a bit. So we're going to get into the NBA. and we're going to call it a day. We're just going to have a general talk about it because there was a lot of small moves that happened, like we mentioned earlier, but it wasn't a lot of big things. It was
there's not much that really happened in the NBA as far as like news, but like I said last week when we were talking about the Brooklyn Nets, you're going to see a lot of players opting out of Orlando, and I literally said, who's to say the Nets are the only team, and they're not. Opting out is now Victor Oladipo, Bradley Beal, and two more Nets players, Taurean Prince, and now Spencer Dinwiddie didn't confirm that he's not really doing well with the coronavirus, and he is officially opting out. Now, going into Orlando, that it was a little controversial. Dwight Howard, he's now officially coming back. He's with the Lakers. He's going to compete for a championship. And Jamal Crawford yesterday is signing a 1-year deal with the Nets.
Finally.
He
is an offensive talent. He needed to be signed so much, man.
And
his mixtapes are insane.
Just before we started filming this, like literally, I think 2 hours ago, maybe Michael Beasley is now signing with the Brooklyn Nets. So, you lose 2, you gain 2 for the Brooklyn Nets, but it's just for 1 year anyway.
Very old. Not even a year. It's for like 20 games. Even
but I don't like. Dwight Howard is the biggest difference maker for the Lakers because they need a big man. They need a center. And Dwight Howard played phenomenal for them last year. Yep. I think I want to get into a lot. Victor Oladipo, I mean, they weren't really playing with him that much this season anyway. So, and he proved to be very uncomfortable. He didn't look comfortable to me when he came back to the Pacers. I'm not sure if there's injury reasons, but, there's still something there. I am very more concerned about Bradley Beal opting out because now you're really going to see a possible dilemma where Bradley Beal is not on the Wizards. Now you're going to see it in Orlando because Bradley Beal, without him, the Wizards are nothing. The Wizards are not, and I know there's John Wall, but he's been injured. It feels like 5 years he's been injured. Oh my God! I swear, we have not seen this guy ever.
I haven't watched John Wall play basketball in years.
I swear I haven't seen him.
For 2 years. I mean, obviously, best of luck to him, and hopefully we see him back to form.
He got injured dancing, right? He got injured dancing.
It's not just bad luck, man. It just sucks. He's such a talented player.
But Bradley Beal, considering that he just got a mega contract with the Wizards, right? I'm looking at him, and Bradley Beal, he somehow manages to drop 40, drop 50, and still lose.
Yeah.
Because of how bad the team is. And you literally see him on the bench. He looks so frustrated. He looks like he doesn't look like he's having fun at all.
He does not want to be there. He does not want to be there.
He doesn't want to be there.
He regrets that signing the second he signed the contract.
He's literally saying, he's not saying it. We don't know if he's saying it, but he's not saying it. But his face is literally saying, trade me. I don't want to be here anymore.
And he already signed the contract.
Yeah. He already signed the contract, but I think he just signed it for the money reasons, not as the fact that I want to be here. It's just I'm praying to God I'm going to sign this contract and I can get my agent to get me somewhere else where I can have this contract, somewhere where I can win. But I feel like this is very interesting for the Wizards because now you're going to see a very likely scenario of how Washington's going to be without John Wall and without Bradley Beal. Who knows? You might see somebody blow up. Like when Kemba Walker left the Charlotte Hornets, you thought, okay, this is over. This is Terry Rozier's team now. And out of nowhere comes Devontae Graham. So who knows? There could be somebody out there within the Washington Wizards that could blow up. Rui Hachimura, he played all right, but he didn't play as to the level he was projected to play. Who knows? He might blow up. Davis Bertans, he might blow up.
He opted out. Davis Bertans opted out.
Oh, he opted. Oh, yeah, you're right.
He was the first one. He was the first one opted out, I believe.
I forgot about that.
He's easy to forget.
I'm a Spurs fan. You see, I love him.
Yeah, I know.
I have a whole take on that.
That's a lot.
Total BS with that situation. But
he deserves.
But yeah, I think it's very interesting for the Wizards, especially. I'm more focused on the Wizards than I am the Lakers because of just what you're going to see now when it comes to the Washington Wizards of what their future may be without Bradley Beal. What do you think?
I mean, we previewed that in the first episode when we talked about this. It's like we're going to see G League rosters playing in the NBA. We're not going to get the talent that we want to see. It's so just interesting to see what's going to happen with those guys because there's a lot of like talent that's just not playing. And now you mentioned Bradley Beal and Victor Oladipo and all these other players. They probably weren't playing regardless. Virus spiking or not, they were most likely going to decide not to play. But for so much of the Nets roster to be completely wiped out and have to be replaced due to the virus, it's hard to believe that doesn't happen to another team. Gordon Hayward's leaving the bubble eventually at some point, if the Celtics are still in there, for the birth of his fourth child. And who's to say he doesn't bring something back? Let's say the Celtics are in the NBA Finals. If he brings it back in the NBA Finals, what do? You can't just cancel the NBA Finals. You'll have to, though. So it's going to be just such a, flutterfest. And
I'm gonna make another prediction. Like I said it last week, you're gonna see more players do this. In the upcoming week, you're probably gonna see more players opt out. I'm guaranteeing it right now. This is just a small crack in what's gonna fulfill all these players just saying we don't want to be here.
Not just teams, not just players, teams. I mean, I mentioned the MLS. In FC Dallas is backing out of the MLS's back tournament. That was a few days ago. And the MLS kept playing, but they had, I believe, 10 players on their roster that tested positive. And they are, they could spread it. Who knows what team they were next to in their hotels or whatever, but they had a lot of players test positive. Who's to say someone isn't asymptomatic right now? I mean, that maybe had a false positive, and that could blow up potentially. It's just an interesting situation to see. There's going to be a team in the Wizards might just back out, or the Nets might back out within the next coming weeks. It's just a lot to see. And it's, again, a lot of we will wait and see, but the outlook, not positive. And for the entertainment of the NBA, you hope that the best case scenario happens, but realistically, I don't think so. And do you have any last takes about anything we talked about or anything you want to throw in at the end? Because we are dragging on quite a bit, but we'll see. What do you got?
But I don't know. Just for the NBA, at least, because we're on the subject right now. Just like I said last week, it's very sad to see that a lot of teams are going through this, that a lot of players are opting out because we did not get the full-on experience of what we wanted to see in the playoffs, and we're not going to get that. But we are going to get some sort of basketball. Hopefully, things go well. I saw a photo of what Orlando looks like. They have 3 courts or 4 courts all in one room.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Actually, they're gonna play simultaneous games, and that's gonna be interesting.
It looks very cool. I like it, but yeah, we'll just see what happens with there. Hopefully, everything goes well. I hope the NBA playoffs finish. I hope there is a champion at the end of all this. Who knows who it could be? Oh, watch it beat the Nets, I'm telling you. Don't sleep on Jamal Crawford.
I'll put my life savings down to the Nets don't win a championship.
Don't sleep on him.
Hey, the Nets could win if teams get wiped out. So it's a lot of who knows what's going to happen. But I believe that will do it for On the Break today. We were recording this on July 9th, so everything that we said could be completely changed by then because these take a bit to edit. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. I'm John alongside Joel, and we are On the Break. Thank you and have a great one.
Later.